Welcome back to Cephas Unscripted, episode 83. Brett once again with his antics. People, thank you so much for always liking and subscribing. This one is mostly focused on our South Africans, and it's our favorite 15 to ever play the game, well, to ever wear the green and gold, to be fair. Now, just a quick disclaimer. Obviously, myself and Brevan are half the age of Brett, so you might put in people from 1912 or something when he was about 20 years old. Myself, going very recently biased, okay, because we're only putting in people that we actually witnessed play. Brett, how you going?
Yeah, so firstly, let's also just inform everyone that it's our individual favorite players. These aren't players that have necessarily played 100 tests for the Boks. They're not players that everybody's going to agree with. Like, there are certain players that I absolutely love that maybe only played 1 or 2 tests for the Springboks. But they were, for me, underrated, and for you, underrated, and yeah, so on and so forth. So my first player is actually very recent. And just because he's representing, my first player at Lucid Prop was Steven Kitsoff. I was going to go with Osturant because, let's face it, he is probably one of the best Lucids of all time, of all teams. But Steven Kitsoff is one of my favorites, and that's who I went with at number 1.
Okay, but Brett, say your full front row. Let's just start it off. So Kitsy, who's your other prop and who's your hooker?
Okay. So we're doing it like that. Okay, so my hooker, I went with a guy that... So I was going to go with John Smith because of how good he was as a captain, but I went with one of the all-time best in the Prem. Played for Saracens for a very long time. One of the hottest hot steppers of his generation, Schalk Brits. Also, one of my favorites. Little quick story. I met him in Mossel Bay and I told him to come watch us play rugby because we were there on tour, and he ditched his golf game to come watch us play rugby. So Tip Top Oak, obviously everyone knows.
I would never do that.
Obviously everyone knows how good he was.
Taking time out of your day to go and watch Brett. I mean, seriously. That's probably as low as you can possibly go.
Probably not. Shush. And yeah, my tight head. I also had quite a few tight heads. I was a big fan of CJ van der Linde, but I'm going again with very modern, very recent, and still playing. For me, the best tight head in the world, Frans Malherbe. Love the Oak, 2 bits.
Well, Brett, you totally jumped the gun there. I didn't even ask Brevan how he's doing. Okay, but that's a lovely piece of front row. I'm going to tell you, that's quality. Okay, I like the Schalk Brit shot. He completely left my mind. But let's shift over to Brevan. So he has at least got a word in like the first 5 minutes of the pod. Brevan, how you doing? And give us your front row.
How's it, everybody? Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that watches. Sounds like a sellout, but we generally are so thankful. So please, if you are not subscribed,
Brevan,
please.
Sit still, please.
Sorry, I've got ADHD. Deal with it, bud. So if you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button right now. We really appreciate it. Continue to like the videos. Continue to share the videos. We really appreciate it. So just a bit of background. I literally just put my favorite team together. So I've probably put some wayward shots, and I probably have even more favorite players than what I'm thinking. But it's been a busy week. You know the story with my road. If you don't, it's not there anymore. But my front row. My front row. I went same 2 props as Brett. Kitsoff and Malherbe, obviously. Very modern in that sense. Shout out to Osturant. Obviously, I got to see him in 2007 when he won the World Cup as well. And obviously before that, yes, I was in grade 1, but I still remember him. And then also shout out to Gertrude Steenkamp as well. Also one of my favorites, obviously played for the Bulls. But I went with a different hooker. And this time I will remember to send the photo to Casual, but I have a tattoo of this guy on my leg, Malcolm Marx. He's part of my World Cup winning tattoo that I have on my calf, and he'll put it up at some point in this video, probably now. But Yeah, Malcolm Marx is my
Just because you
absolute.
said that, I'm not doing it. I'm just
No,
leaving
you
it.
no, you have to.
It
The
just
people
looks
need
like
to
an
see this
absolute
tattoo.
idiot.
No, they have to. They have
The
to.
tattoo.
So just honestly, Malcolm Marx is like my rugby hero. So he probably captains the side, everything. He is absolutely everything to me in rugby.
That's
So
very recently biased, but also
Mm.
absolute filth. Love it.
yeah, it is.
Now,
It is.
I would have
about
gone
you?
with the same. What did you say, Brett?
How about you? What's your front row?
Well, I went with kind of the same as Brevan, but then I realized Kitsy looks a lot like Brett. So all of a sudden, I don't like the guy. Okay, I don't like him. So he's out of my team, and I went with Beast. Give me Tendai every day of the week. You hear it these days, people screaming "Screw." That is the biggest fraudulent thing I've ever heard in the world. That is that is a hit and run. Okay, that is horrific. There's no comparison. Give me Beast Taiwarira.
What do they
Every day.
scream?
Huh?
What do they scream? Screw.
Screw.
Isn't it shoe? Shoe. Because they
Whatever
can't
they
say.
scream,
They
whatever they
say shoe
scream,
man.
it's
No, I
wrong.
don't.
Okay, whatever they scream, it's wrong. That's kind of the point of it. Okay, the other prop, I agree with both of you. Frans Malherbe, listen, put respect on his name. People talking about Tide Furlong, please. It's been Francie every day of the week for the past 12 years that he's been playing. Okay, and then at the hooker, Brevan, I couldn't agree more. I put him in the top 10 forwards of all time already. I put him, I think, in fourth, and I think he'll end on number one. If it wasn't for injuries, he would be back-to-back champions. He'd be the best hooker to ever play the game, and probably in the top two forwards to ever play the game. That guy can do everything. I know Dan Sheehan's got a bit of pace, but he's got nothing on Malcolm Marx. Okay, that's it. Enough said. If you disagree, you're wrong. You know the drill. Now, we're going to the locks. Brett, you talked a lot at the start. You can shut up. Brevan, you go first.
Your casuals on smoke today. I think we need to teach this guy some respect, Brett. Anyway,
He's literally on smoke.
so I forget a 5 lock. I went with 2 4 locks, 2 brutal, physical, because obviously I love a lock that's physical. Obviously, we know we need the 5 lock that's he's the steam room. He does all the dirty work, the work you don't notice. But I went with 2 4 locks. So I went with Bucky's Botha, of course, had to be in there for me just because of who he was and his personality on the field. At 4, and then at 5, I went with Eben Etzebeth, probably my second favorite player of all time. Another hero of mine, a guy that I aspire to be like when I play.
Also got a tattoo of him.
Just 2 absolute. What did he say?
I thought you had a tattoo of him too.
No, he's next. Anyway, yeah, just those 2 absolute monsters. I love them to bits.
Great.
Wow. Okay, well, I did quite the opposite of you. I went for 2 number 5 locks. So my people are one's a bit older than what you guys would be used to, and the other one, well, Brevan, you should know him. He coaches at the Bulls. So Andries Bakker, my first lock. I thought that if he played for any other country, he'd be a 100 test cap oak, but he unfortunately played in an era with Victor and Bucky's. That chemistry you were never, ever, ever, ever going to break up, and thus he didn't play as many tests as he very rightfully deserved to play. I thought he was ahead of his time with his skills, and he was obviously 208 or 211, whatever, I can't remember. But a giant of a rugby player, Andries Bakker. And then my other number lock, I went with Franco Mostert because that's personal. Obviously grew up with the guy. If you guys knew his story, he never deserved, or he doesn't belong in a Springbok setup, let alone with 2 World Cups. He played B team center his whole life. His brother JP was the rugby guru of the family. Played first team from under 11, then played first team again under 16. Captained the Cravenweek Western Province, Leopard side, then went to Western Province. his brother was everything. Franco was just in the shadow, B team, and then boom, 2-time World Cup winning lock, workhorse, 49 tackles in 3 games. Franco Mostert.
That's beautiful. We love a beautiful story. And also with Andries Becker, like I know he was kind of at the end of his career, but when you thought he could have a couple more games for the box, it's obviously like when Victor and Bucky's went out, Eben came through. So he just got like
Yeah.
you couldn't have asked for a worse guy to take your place. Oh well. You know what I
we
mean.
know what you mean. We know what you mean.
In terms of competitiveness, okay? Like his caps just went out the window right there. Now, once again, I agree with Brevan because I like some argy-bargy. If they could have a fist fight every game, I am here for it. I want ACLs broken or torn. I want necks snapped off. That's why I
This
went
looks
with
wild.
Bucky's Botha. Give me Bucky's Botha every day of the week. And then even it's a bit. Wow, you'd be smacking every single team. Not in points, but just like physically smacking every single team. That's what those guys bring to you. So that's why I went with them. Obviously, they are both brilliant players, but that's not why I went with them. They are just Vikings, brutal. Anyway, we'll go to the Lucy's now.
You can
Brett?
start. You can
Should I
start.
start? Okay.
Yes.
Now, fair enough. I'm playing one a bit out of position, but he had to be there. So in my number 6, I've got, and if you don't have him, you are wrong. Skullburger. He's my number 6. Pretty easy. I mean, what an absolute war hero with Eben Etzebeth and Bucky's Botha to go out and slap some people. Then, secondly, I've got Pieter Stef de Toy. Okay, put some respect on the guy's name. Current player. He's been a World Player of the Year. Sensational. Tackle machine. And in the number 8 jersey, I switched it around a bit. I had Dwayne Vermeulen. Respect to Dwayne Vermeulen. But I switched it out for the guy that was a menace at every single breakdown. The guy that literally dominated rugby for the years that he played before they had to change rules because of him. Heinrich Brusso. I know he's played 8 once. I think he's played 8 for the box as well. I'm putting in Heinrich Brusso as my number 8.
Not a
Brett?
bad shout.
Fizz.
Not a bad shout.
Fizz.
Okay,
Fizz.
mine's completely different. Actually, not completely. I have one player that's the same as you. My number 6, however, I went with a player that he was not as good when he played for the Boks as he was when he played for the Cheetahs. He also one of the stalwarts of his generation. I went with Kabamba Fleur, my number 6 flank. I don't know if you guys would remember him.
He was lethal at the Cheetahs.
Sorry?
He was lethal at the Cheetahs. Like,
Yes.
scary.
And proper workhorse, beast of a player. Then my 7, I went with Skulkberger because you need a guy that can distribute and absolutely break your ribs when he tackles you. I think Skulkberger was also ahead of his time. Brilliant player. Everybody feared playing against him. Some international players have even come out and said he's one of the hardest oaks they've ever played against. And you can't forget that tackle on Furi de Priya in the Curry Cup semi-final. So yes, that's that. And then my number 8, I went for a person that is quite, I don't know if you guys would agree, but he just captained the Springboks at the age of 21 years old. He was also a model for a diamond company, Bob Skinstad. So this oak as well, I thought that he had the craziest skills I've ever seen, like especially in his era. And he's obviously got a World Cup in 2007. So Bob Skinstad.
Yeah. Brett, I actually thought you were going to go with the likes of a Pierre Spies. You look like a... Pierre Spies was amazing. He was so much fun to watch. And he had steroids. Who doesn't love steroids? All of our boys are on steroids. We love steroids.
Apparently.
Pierre Spies was the big man for that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember this on the top of my head because, as you all know, my flashlight is my phone, so I can't really see my phone right now. But anyways, 6, I couldn't decide between the two. It was either Dion Stachman or it was Heinrich Brousseau. I could not decide between the two. I just purely, and it's Bulls bias. I mean, you can see you guys have a lot of Stormers players in your team as well. Like, this is how it works. Dion Stachman, like, obviously a fantastic player. Heinrich Brousseau, obviously better, but still, I couldn't decide between the two because I love Dion so much for the Bulls, but at the same time, Heinrich Brousseau was a menace. Then at 7, again, I couldn't decide between the two. Sorry, it's just how it is. So I went with firstly I went with a guy who in 2007 we thought we might not ever get this player again at the box, John Smith, right? Obviously a fantastic player, but then behold the rebirth of John Smith, and probably 10 times better. Even though John Smith was incredible, you got Peter Steph du Toit, who he's just the guy. Yeah, literally,
Right.
he was born to just tackle. Like, I'm sure God was like, when he made Peter Steph du Toit, it was like, tackle, just tackle. Okay, whatever.
Wow.
Wow. Sorry.
That's
I'm on a weird one tonight. Anyway, and then at 8, obviously Brett went here.
Bremen looked like he was busy with some superpower shit.
Brett obviously doesn't like the guy, but I went with Spies purely because I grew up watching him at the Bulls and in the box as well. I thought he was phenomenal. Like, as big as he was, I don't think he was. Yes, he was physical, but I don't think he was the most physical 8 the box ever had. He was I mean, obviously we knew he played wing at a stage for the Bulls as well. Like, the guy had so much speed, and I think it was the 2009 Super Rugby final when he scored the breakaway try against the Chiefs when we like blew them away in that final. And the guys, yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, Spies was always what I enjoyed grew up watching, and yeah, so Spies was my 8.
So that's once again what I took from that whole thing was when the French played a forward on the wing against us when they had an injury, we can still say we did it first. They just like to copy and paste, but don't make it look the same. That's what they do. And they watch the box.
How many caps has Dion Stachman got for the box?
Did he not play? Or I thought he had 1.
You might be right. I personally can't remember him ever playing.
I think you're right. I thought he had 1, but now that I think of it, it's possible he may have had zip. Sorry for my darkness.
Revan, this is unnecessary. I can do it.
Okay, but then why didn't you?
Because I don't know who Dion Stachman is, and I was
Don't talk nonsense.
I was scared I spelled it wrong. Okay, I have no idea who this guy is. Anyway,
he has played for the box.
How many?
6. Yeah,
okay.
6.
Fair enough. Brett, who's your halfback pairing?
Can we all just give our 9s first and then move on to 10?
Fair
enough.
Okay, so my 9, I have 2 that I struggled with. So one was Bola Conradi. Obviously, I
remember that oak.
But
Rugby 08, I love that oak.
Yeah, him and George Gregan were probably, I don't know. I think they were good rivals, and they kind of looked the same. One looked rougher than the other one. But I thought about this one actually, and my all-time favorite 9, and I can't see anybody ever overtaking him, is Kobus Reinach.
Wow.
I love Kobus Reinach. I wouldn't say he's my favorite, but I've always been on the same page with Brett on that one. Like, I think he deserves so much more respect, so many more caps. Like, the guy, I genuinely think if he was put in a box setup with more of an important role, obviously we saw him get a bit more of an important role in this World Cup, but I think he's always been better than Faf. And I think he could have been, this is so bold, he could have been close to the level or on the level of Antoine Dupont. He's that skillful, in my opinion. He's a very similar player to Dupont. But yeah,
I I read, I think a year or two ago, I read that Antoine Dupont actually said that his toughest nine that he's playing against, that he's ever played against, is obviously when he was at Montpellier, was Kobus Reinach. He said that Oak was a menace.
Yeah, scary. Brevin, who did you go for?
I went with Bulls bias again, just how we are. Farid Duprier, again, that's what I grew up watching. I always thought he was phenomenal for the box. I mean, I'll never forget his try where Dwayne did the back pass to Farid Duprier to win us that quarterfinal. That was
Wales.
awesome. I've seen him win us Super Rugby titles for the Bulls. Obviously, this isn't about the Bulls, but he's won a World Cup. He's won a World Cup with the Box as well. Just a phenomenal nine. I've always rated him so highly. And one of the best of South Africa's nines ever produced, I think.
Yeah, obviously him and Joos van der Westhuizen are obviously the two standout nines that we've ever had. Now, obviously, I didn't watch Joos van der Westhuizen because that was before my birth and conception. So,
Can I guess yours before you say it?
Yes.
Ricky January.
Oh, you twat! I thought
Yes!
Yes, it is.
I
It is
knew
Ricky
it.
January.
Can't be. You're not that
A
stupid.
guy with proper belly fat doing a chip and chase like he's Dan Carter. I don't care. I put him in there for one spectacle moment of chip and chase history. Okay,
Well,
nothing has been better than that. Brett, let me have my moment. Okay, you've done yours. You've told your personal stories. My moment, Ricky January, and remember we said this is not the best. If I chose the best, I would just go for Rita Priya. Fair enough, because he is the best, right? My favorite, Ricky January. He just looked like a funny guy, short, little bit of belly fat, like the typical guy you'd walk into in a random bar. That's the vibes he gave me, and I loved it. The guy just looked like a normal guy that did a brilliant chip and chase. Okay, so Ricky January is
If you're a South African, okay, obviously you need to be of age, but if you're a South African and you don't remember his try against the All Blacks, I mean, who can forget it? I mean, it was even if you don't like the guy, it was such a cool try, and obviously we won that game as well. Everyone was like, "Oh, oh my goodness, we beat New Zealand in New Zealand!" Like we were also hyped. And back then, to beat New Zealand in New Zealand was something that never happened. So
yeah, that was
yeah,
prime New Zealand.
so yeah, that was
And,
awesome. I remember.
and the great thing about it was the way he dived to score the try. Like I've never seen a guy dive with a ball like that. Like it's just a beautiful moment, and that makes him my favorite. Like I mean, seriously.
Had a heart attack there.
And going on from there, my number 10, the prince that was never crowned king, Pat Lambie.
No. Okay.
He was
Okay.
no,
Have your moment. Have your moment. I'll just keep going.
He was sensational. Okay, I know he was injury prone and whatever, but when I grew up, I was like, this guy. Obviously, I was like a bit older, but I was like, this guy is going to be the future of Springbok rugby, and I will die on that hill. Pat Lambie is my number 10. I thought he was absolutely brilliant because I watched him from. That was still when we watched like the under 18s to under 20s World Cups, and he played there. Massive player for them. Went on to the Sharks, went on to the Box finally, and he could have been the Andre Pollard that we have now. Just my opinion. Brett, you are a 10, so you can give yours.
Yeah, I completely disagree with you. I
Amen.
think you're
Amen.
You can't disagree with when someone says it's their favorite.
Okay, true.
Don't say I have four and then you interrupt me. So I have quite a few players. I had guys like Brent Russell that I really enjoyed watching. Also a hot stepper. I remember he scored a winning try against Australia one year where he stepped through Matt Gitto and Stephen Mortlock to go score under the post. But then my favorite is actually a guy called Henry Honeyball, because I cannot think of a fly-off in world rugby that can tackle harder than Henry Honeyball. That's my shout.
Interesting. Obviously I can't comment because I'm too young, but interesting. I just went safe. Sorry. Am I on a No.
Brett old again.
Listen, no, I was actually going to, no, let me not say that. I was going to say my favorite fly-off was Brett, but because he got capped for the he got capped for the
Let
box
me
back
just
in
remove
whenever.
Brevin
No, I'm
real
kidding.
quick for that silliness.
No. But yeah, if Springbok tens, it's obviously I'm still young, so I didn't get to watch, the likes of Joel Stransky, Naaspoort. But I don't. If you pick Naaspoort, even as a Bulls fan, like, no, don't do that, buddy. But yeah, I just went safe with Andre Pollard. I think the reason I love Andre Pollard is because of how ice cold he is in pressure situations. It's like, imagine, I mean, when he came into that box squad, obviously we all were like, so many people were like, no, Marley needs to start, no, Andre needs to start, and everyone was like putting so much pressure on each fly off, and you were almost like, wow, each guy has so much pressure on their shoulders. And again, in that Tonga game, remember when we scored that first try in the corner and Andre had a kick right in the corner? And obviously the whole world, like Brett was the one that brought this up when we first watched the game. He said the whole world was watching that kick because we brought him in to kick over the poles. Like, that is why we have Andre Pollard in the team.
Yeah.
And he nailed it straight through the middle. Like, that is ice cold. And then obviously you can't forget the moments in the semi-final, quarter-final, and then obviously in the final as well. Oh, just awesome stuff. Brought so many
He's
good
probably
memories
the
to us.
part that's given us the most memories.
And he's got the best stats ever. Like, think of his stats, guys. A Junior World Cup, what's it called?
Double
Two
World
Rugby
Cup.
World Cups. He's the
British and
Oaka's,
Irish Lions.
proof. The Oaka's going to go down as the GOAT of SA Rugby.
Am I correct? He did also play in the Junior World Cup while still in matric.
Yes.
Yes,
That
he
is
did.
correct.
So
Yeah.
that's massive. Like, that's huge.
Okay,
It was failed.
Brevin. Let's go Brevin. Centre period.
Okay. So before the video, I did say this guy currently, don't get me wrong, he's not very good. But there was a season for the Lions where he was phenomenal. I really rated this guy. I was like, this has to be the new Bok 12 going forward in the future. Like, this is the one. Rowan Jansen van Rensburg, like that season he had for the Lions in 2016, I think it was, or 2017. It was one of the Super Rugby, because obviously they made the final in both
That
those
was
years.
when
It
the
was one of
pool
them,
Lion squad was the box team.
basically. There was one season where I was like, this is such an awesome inside center. Obviously, I acknowledge he's gone downwards, and I do acknowledge that, but I'll never forget, because obviously back then the Bulls were absolutely horrific. So I'm closer to Ellis Park. I had season tickets to Ellis Park, shock, and I'm a Bulls fan. And I'd go and watch him play every week when they played at Ellis Park, just because of how good he was. And obviously I enjoyed that team so much with Malcolm, etc. But yeah, I really enjoyed what he did for the Lions that season. So I had him at 12, and then at 13, sorry for the darkness, it is interesting one. Again, Bulls bias shock. JJ Engelbrecht. I really liked him as well.
Oh, blast from the past.
Yeah, I mean the center
was
pairing
huge.
the center pairing of Jan Serfontein and JJ Engelbrecht was always something special for me. And then also shout out to Wynand Olivier as well. Love that guy. But anyway, he was a 12. But yeah, JJ Engelbrecht was my 13. Like I said, I may have misjudged some of these calls. Now that I think of it, he's probably not my favorite. But I still enjoyed the guy a lot. So he's on the list. So I'm going to keep him there, to be fair.
Great.
Casual, you go, Casual.
Me.
Yeah.
Respect on the current players. And I had to put him in there because obviously he's born and raised close by. Damien Diallo is the 12. Okay, I will die on this hill that he is one of the most underrated players to have put on the green and gold. People think he's selfish or whatever. I don't think people realize how good he is and what he brings to that team. He is sensational. Every time he's being matched up to, wow, some dogs.
Sorry, I'll turn that down.
Anytime he's been matched up to who's the best 12 in the world. He's always like either won the battle or equaled the battle. Look at the Bundiaki comparison, literally in the World Cup. Sensational. Yeah,
Just
Brevan,
pause
thank you.
quickly. Oh, there we go. Carry on.
Yeah, I just muted him. Anyway, and then the outside center has got to be Jacques Fourie. I mean, he was sensational. He was absolutely brilliant. Now, obviously, I haven't watched as much of him as all the other centers and stuff, but I just know that guy was elite. And I can't think of a better center pairing than Damien Delinda and GC Kriel. Jacques Fourie. Anyway, Brett, just go. I got flustered.
I'll give you a better center pairing right now. So I'm going to start with 13 because I'm completely in agreement with you, Jacques Fourie. The Oak has scored against every test team that he's ever played against.
Wow. I didn't even know that. That's sensational.
Not a lot of players in the world can say that. So yeah, Jacques Fourie it was weird in a sense that when he was injured, a guy like A.D. Jacobs came in and a hot stepper was making that 13 jersey his own until Jacques Fourie decided, you know what, I'm coming back for that 13 jersey, and that just brought the best out of him, and there he really became one of the best 13s in the world. And then his direct center partner, 102 Springbok caps, one of the best captains, the intercept king, the alleged funny man in the team, John de Villiers. He was my actual second choice at first because when I grew up, I was a massive Devet Barry fan. I based my whole, because I played center in primary school, and it was Devet Barry or nobody. I just wanted to tackle like that guy. Now I don't even tackle like anybody. But yeah, so John de Villiers is my final choice.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I completely agree on the Jacques Fourie. Like that, sorry, I did this team so quickly. Jacques Fourie, 100% agree. He's probably my favorite as well. So
yeah,
good shout.
Let's round it off. I'll start with my back three. Okay, 11. If you don't have him, I will be very disappointed. Okay, it's got to be Brian Abana. That is the intercept king. We all remember the intercept try against Argentina in the 2007 World Cup, wearing the blue boots and the long sleeve. Brian Abana, he had a song written about him. Habana na na. There you go. Okay, that is why he's all of our favorite 11. Okay, he is. I'm picking your 11 for you. Okay,
but he's not intercept king.
Well, he scored a lot of interception tries too, Brett.
So did John de Villiers.
Yes, but I saw more from Abana because I choose to say so. 14, once again, a guy that's grown up 5 meters away from me, Cheslin Colby. Now, I know he hasn't had the most caps in the world or whatever, right? But there's people considering him the best wing to ever live. Now, they are wrong, obviously, because he doesn't have the longevity. But that just tells you the impact that he's had and the whole narrative that I think he broke about too small to be a Springbok. We saw it with Drew Aplon, for instance, and Colby just broke that narrative and really shone through and made some of the big. I think he's the highest paid rugby player at the moment, isn't he? Or one of the highest paid rugby players from a guy that was said too small to play rugby. That is absolutely brilliant. So I love that story. And obviously, he grew up close by. Who doesn't like a bit of flair, line breaks, never afraid of a tackle? And then, Brevan, do you want to be cocky again and guess my 15?
No, because I don't know it.
Damian Willemse.
Give
me
course,
Damian
sorry,
Willemse all day, every day. Now, obviously, I can't say he's the best yet, right? But I truly believe if there was he's going to be Rugby Player of the Year one day. The guy is absolutely sensational. Brett, we've said this multiple times throughout the URC season. When he doesn't play, you see we miss him. And when he plays, he's always one of the best players on the field, if not the best. So I think he has a massive future with the Boks, and I'm putting respect on him right now. So I wouldn't disagree if you guys go with someone else. That was just like a future prediction. Brevan, you're back three. So Brett can end us off.
Okay. So I had the same wings as you. Habana obviously gave me so many good memories obviously broke my heart going to the Stormers as well. But man's got to do what he's got to do, eh? And yeah, it's just
Because Cape
obviously
Town's
one
better
of
than Joburg once again.
listen. It is actually okay. That I can't argue with. But yeah, his it was cool how he went from Lions to Bulls to Stormers. Like obviously, I imagine he played for the Sharks. It would have been all the sides. That's why I was like, that's why I made the
Cheetahs.
shout and Cheetahs as well. But imagine that's why I made the shout of like Madosh going to the Stormers because then he would have played for every single franchise side. But anyway, that's going off topic. Habana obviously it straight up for me 11. Colby as well, given us so many good memories. Especially at a time where we really, obviously, I've grown up a bit since then, so I still don't like the guy, Owen Farrell. But when Colby stepped Owen Farrell, like you just felt this sense of like that felt good, like that felt really good. And yeah, it's just Colby's also given us so many good memories. Obviously, you see how passionate he is about the jersey as well. When he got that yellow in the final, you could see how much it upset him. Just he couldn't even watch the game. And then my 15, I went with a guy who just probably so many people were on this guy's back, slandering him, telling him that he's useless, telling him that he's nothing, telling him he should quit rugby. And now he is going to, he's currently the best. Okay, Casual will disagree with me on this, but I think this season in the URC has been the best 15. And that's Willie Leroux. I think Willie Leroux just defies the odds. He's not a big guy, not a very muscular guy, and yes, he may miss a few tackles here and there. But like if you put him in your side, you can trust him and he'll fight for you. And yes, he can be the most annoying guy who runs up to a ref and screams in his face. Or when we win a semi-final and the English are giving you banter all game and he runs back in their faces and said, yeah, well, look, chum, we just won the semi-final. He's always got your back. So yeah,
he's a vital player to the way that the Boks play and a personality when it comes to it. I mean, we heard Sia speak in a press conference and say, listen, Willie, the work rate off the ball, reading the game, he's got a sensational mind for the game. We spoke about the intercept king just now. Willie is the assist king. Like there's no better assist king than Willie. It's always the final pass. He reads the game beautifully. So I love the respect put on his name. He deserves it. Obviously, he's tackling a bit shaky. But other than that, sensational player. Like he's going to truly be missed. Like we will see the impact he had when he's finally gone, if you get what I mean. Brett, you're back to me.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not even going to say my number 11 because I've thought of all the 11s in the world. I tried to be different. Like I thought of all the 11s that made a Bok test, and I couldn't think of anybody that would outshine Brian Banner. Like you said, he's got a song about him. He's the leading try scorer for the Boks. He's blitz fast. He's just an absolute machine. My right wing, actually, you mentioned him just now. I almost went with Hugh Aplon. I was a big fan of him. Like if that oak was on the field in the 2015 World Cup, where they rather put Pat Lambie on instead of Hugh Aplon, South Africa would have beaten Australia. I'm convinced of it. I thought that if he caught that ball from there, he would have stepped that whole team and scored. And then Pat Lambie decided, but my right wing, I went for a guy that scored 7 tries in a Bok jersey. This oak, I played like 2 games with him when I was at Pirates. Tonderai Chavanga. I used to say this oak is not that fast. Like I was fast back then. I said this oak is not that fast. He absolutely burnt the living shit out of me. That oak is probably the fastest guy I've ever seen in my life. Like I think he would have given Sonatla a run for his money, like that fast. Like he burned Habana. I mean, anyway, yeah, enough about him. My fullback also went. I was also thinking Willie Leroux. I was thinking a guy like Percy Montgomery. Just this cool, common collectiveness. But my favorite player was a guy that you guys probably don't even know. Scored the winning try in the South African team against Australia in a Tri Nations game at Loftus, Werner Greef.
My dad is a big fan of him.
Yes,
That
I
just
love
tells you
that.
how old Brett is. Like, no, I'm just kidding. My dad is a big fan. He always told me, listen, this guy had a wild step on him. Like, my dad's favorite fullbacks was Cullen and then Greef. Like, he always, well, I don't even know if Greef was a fullback because I never saw him. Might have been a winger. But like he said, that were two of the most exciting guys to watch. Yeah. By the way, I just thought of it. I'm switching my 10. I'm taking out Pat Lammy because we've got. I talked about Ebenezer and Bakkies Botha and Skalkberger. Give me Butch James at 10. Give me Butch James.
Butchie.
To take over some heads. Or Andre Pretorius putting up some sand to go and kick to goal.
And the eyes, just like checking with his eyes. Like,
Anyway, if you guys
to end off this,
actually got to this point, please consider liking and subscribing, as we forgot to say it once again at the start. Okay?
We did say it.
We did say it. Okay.
Yes, I tried to.
I said it at the start.
Brevan said it.
Oh, Brevan said it. Oh,
yes.
Wow. Okay, well, anyway, we enjoyed this one. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time. Thank you.